Shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Albert Veksler. I'm the director of Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and we are here with answers for our allies. We are in the Friends of Zion Museum, and together with me is a good friend, General Ephraim Lapid. You are a former IDF spokesman, and you are also a senior intelligence officer. You have a really highly decorated past, and now you are chairman of the Haganah Heritage. Now, Haganah is the predecessor of the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, that was functioning from 1920 to 1948. Really good to have you, Ephraim.
Thank you very much, Albert, and back to meet.
Well, and I want to start with something that is serious. We have in our background all our fallen soldiers, and 7th of October, where did this meet you?
By chance, I was on that day with my daughter in US, but my heart was here, and the most tragic surprise attack that we faced in our history. We are now on the eve of December, and December 7, 1941, was in the history of surprises, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And we in Israel and we in many intelligence services in the world studied for many years. We studied the lessons of Pearl Harbor until it was 1941, and the answer of United States at that time was only 4 years afterwards in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And another surprise attack was, if you want, in international scale, 1968, with the invasion of the Soviet Union to Czechoslovakia. Prague. And we studied also this, we in the Israeli intelligence, we studied also this lesson until 5 years after, in 1973, we suffered once again. After we studied, I say we because I personally was involved in the process of studying the lessons of, until 67, we spoke only about Pearl Harbor. And in 68, I was personally in the European Union in order to be more acquainted with the details and to understand what were the faults. And, as I say, after all this very detailed process, we faced 1973. And we thought at that time, especially this year, we covered many units in the military, many civilian forums, and we shared with them the experience of 1973. And we thought that it was so bitter that we now are better, we now are more experienced, we have now more technology, we have, of course, more armament, and everything is connected with more. And, which is the bitter end, we did not realize and we did not assess the motivation, not only the abilities, but the motivation of our enemies. Our enemies, totally. I mean, Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in the south, and if you want also the Houthis in Yemen. All these are sponsored by Iran, which is on one hand a dominant empire of the Shiites. The Shiites in the Islam are minority. They are only 15% of the Islam world. But, and this is a daily but, they want to rule mentally, not physically, but at least mentally, politically, at least the Middle East, and if they are able, even more. We see how the world, United States, Europe, mostly these two, are with confrontation with Iran, politically and also militarily, and it lasts for a few decades. It's not a limited confrontation, and therefore, the situation now in Israel is not a local situation of confrontation with Hamas, and October 7th was a brutal attack of creatures, not human life, creatures that assassinated people, that raped women, that cut heads of people. Something that it's hard to say. Of course, it's difficult to believe that it exists. And as I say, that October 7th is not only a confrontation between Israel and Hamas, is a sign to the world. And we see that the involvement, starting with President Biden, who showed a unbelievable, really unbelievable, not only political behavior, but unbelievable human behavior with such a empathy, which was translated also to deeds, not only to words. And European countries, at least in the first phase of this confrontation. I say that it is an international confrontation because the conflict now is first of all, it's a conflict between religions. The name of the war in terms of Hamas is the storm of Al-Aqsa, Tawkan al-Aqsa.
That's how they call it.
And even the term shows the role of religion, the role of motivation, the role of ideology, and ideology cannot be destroyed. We can destroy a building, we can destroy a camp, we can kill the leaders, we can kill the commanders, but we cannot destroy the ideology, and I say it with a very deep understanding that the world has to understand that this is a danger that now is very brutally here. But we know that the role of Muslims in Europe, in the United States, and the financial support of Saudi Arabia, of Qatar, of other Gulf states to campuses in Europe, to campuses in the United States, they feed the level and the age of students who are the potential leaders of the future, a very strategic, reasonable effort. And the military attack is only one step in an international march in order to invade the world.
Well, you are really, of course, well versed in the global arena, and you understand how these things have taken place in this bigger picture. Now, on the 29th of November, we will have a special day in the Knesset. And it is a special day. I mean, 76 years ago, United Nations passed a resolution of partitioning the British mandate to the Jewish state and Arab state, and the Jewish people were willing and agreed to this resolution. Arabs started a war, and of course you have seen many of these wars. You've seen this unwillingness to recognize the Jewish state and unwillingness to really partner with Israel.
I think that the example of November 29th, 1947 is a good example not only of the history, but also it exists today. On one hand, it was a very brave understanding of our leadership, led by David Ben-Gurion, who was the leader of the Jewish community. I speak about the Jewish community before the existing independence of the State of Israel. From 1935 to 1948, 13 years, David Ben-Gurion led the organization, the international, the local organization, Jewish Agency, which was the pre-government of Israel. And to take a decision by David Ben-Gurion, of course, with the approval of the leadership, to be in favor of this decision is very brave, because the partition was, I don't want to say stupid, but it was very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Two blocks, an Arab state with an enclave of Jewish settlements, a Jewish state with enclave of Arab settlements. It's something that if, in history it's very difficult to speak about if, but if it would be implemented, it would be a daily danger. Yeah. So if we take this example as this was at that time two-state position, two-state, one Jewish state, one Arab state in the territory from the river to the sea. Exactly, more or less exactly like the situation, because the geography is the same geography. The Jordan River is the same Jordan River, the Mediterranean is the same Mediterranean. We have now, we deal now with a history of 76 years ago, but it's important that our audience will remember that the geography is the same geography.
But also the hatred is the same hatred, because, I mean, the Arabs started attacking the Jewish communities in 1929, 1936 to 1939.
This is exactly what I want to say, that one is geography and second is demography. And the demography, the population, is Jewish and Arabs, Jewish and Muslims, it's better to say here, and they are now much more extreme, much more extreme. I think that extremism is a trend all over the world in different aspects, including politics. We see that extremism, to be moderate is not so popular like it was in the past. Now, to be extreme, we see the leaders in many, many countries, and we see also the leaders here in the Middle East. We see the leader of Hamas, we see the leader of Hezbollah, and the idea of two-state solutions that started in 20 years ago with a statement as a post-Oslo process. I believed in the past in this ideology, in this policy, but it's very, very hard now to not only to speak about it, but to think that it can be a certain solution for the day after. We speak a lot about the day after. I still think that we should not rule Gaza Strip like we ruled after 1967. Maybe that for an interim era, only in order to ensure the security for our inhabitants near the border, we have to make certain defense measures, but I would not wish to see our future in Gaza. It was once again brave. I speak about brave leaders who took brave decisions. Ariel Sharon, who took the decision in 2005 to bring not our forces back, but also the community.
But also the graveyards, the dead. Everybody was taken out.
And there are now some voices in Israel that maybe it's good to renew the existence of a certain set of settlements. I wish that it will not be implemented. And on the other hand, I don't have a good solution for the day after. I think that the policy that United States send now as a vision of the Palestinian Authority to rule also Gaza, it's something that
they tried
very hard.
They tried. We have these lessons already. We learned them. I mean, they were taken over by force by Hamas, dropped off their high buildings.
Yes, they really
eliminated them.
Really, literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've seen that lesson. Now, this 29th of November definitely is a very important milestone in Israeli history, and we need to strengthen our friends. We need to strengthen our allies. And we need you to join us also on the 29th, as we will be in the Knesset. Online, you can follow us on our Facebook page. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very simple, Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and you will find us on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. It is important for you to follow us, and we would be happy to know if you are following us, if you are planning some meetings, some support, some prayer meetings in this time. But Ephraim, when we talk about the situation, you mentioned the words day after, planning the security architecture of the region here. You mentioned that Palestinian authorities are unable to administrate it. What should we have? I'm just now thinking aloud. Kosovo had their KFOR NATO forces bringing the security to this area after the war. Is this even an option?
The experience with international forces in the world, including the Middle East, we had in the past. We still have in Lebanon.
It seems not to work.
Something it's artificial. It's a good income for certain soldiers in the world. But that's the only benefit that if you see from Fiji, a battalion from Fiji that keep the peace in South Lebanon, or from Italy, from the fleet of Germany, different forces that are symbols of forces that has the very very international title. They are on behalf of the United Nations, but their contribution to security, not only to peace, but it's
well, they have not been able to implement the UN decision of disarming Hezbollah and bringing them away from the borders.
I even don't give all the examples of the daily routine there. I started with the experience that we had. We have until today, as I said, even after 1949, when the War of Independence ended, we had international UN, not forces, but supervisors in the border with Syria, with Jordan, as with Egypt. But once again, in 1967, it failed totally.
Well, they just gave an ultimatum to UTANT, and he just pulled away the UN peacekeeping troops.
So the international arena is important to renew the reality in Gaza Strip. The economy, the infrastructure. I wish that they will have a harbor, that they will have a terminal, because what we thought about Hamas until 3 months ago, we thought that as a reasonable government, Hamas has to take care of the people. They have to give the people a hope to the future. This paradigm failed. We thought that we thought a set of data, and we thought that this set of data brings them to a certain station, but after all, it was a total camouflage.
And they also, of course, deceived the Israeli government. It was in August, I think, this year that the Islamic Jihad started launching the missiles, and Hamas didn't react, and then...
And we thought in this specific case, we thought that Hamas and Jihad are not coordinated. We thought that the Jihad initiated an independent military step, independent military attack, and Hamas is not involved. That's what we believed at that time. Now we see that it is one aspect of a set of signs that we missed. We missed in our mentality of thinking. It's a matter of thinking, and we know. I think that everyone knows in his individual life, in his personal life, that sometimes you have a certain belief. You have a certain belief that you believe in a certain friend, you believe in a certain partner, you believe in a certain economic venture, and hopefully, mostly, you win. But here we lost totally.
Now, thinking of the day after, you have seen a lot. You've written several books. You have seen what happened after the Yom Kippur War. What do you think, like politically speaking, what will happen in Israel?
I divide between what I see and what I wish.
Okay.
I wish to see a different regime in Israel, not only in the terms of this party or that party, but to see a different motivation and a different spirit. The spirit of the last 2 years, the last 2 years, let's call it, was with a set of decisions in the political arena that brought to the political sector people who are with different values. You see that I select the words in order not to be not politically correct, but it's still hard to even to compare to few previous decades in our history. We are now in our eighth decade. And we started with a wonderful leader with vision in the first 15 years. David Ben-Gurion led a country in its defense policy, in its economic policy, in the social framework, a lot of achievements. And afterwards, we developed our society, we developed our economy, we developed our industry. The world developing was a permanent word of not only of a vision, but also of implementation of this vision. In the last decades, after a personal tragic case of our Prime Minister Netanyahu. He was involved with, from my point of view, with a minor
accident.
A minor personal accident. It moves to a strategic crash of our society, a strategic crash of our public administration. Our public administration is now doesn't fulfill its missions. You see that I want to share the world not with tragic definitions, but still, if I have to express my vision and my hopes, I hope to see a different spirit of regime and to take the lessons of this tragic price that we paid with so many young people that were killed first in the brutal attack and afterwards as heroes in a war in order to destroy the military and governmental abilities of Hamas. This is the mission. And of course, to bring back the hostages. And the human price here is something that we have not only to appreciate and not only to recognize and to remember, we have to fulfill what is behind this war. And behind this war means that the Israeli people want to see a new Israeli spirit.
Mm. I think the Israeli society has displayed a lot of amazing qualities. If you think of how the society has mobilized, how people are helping each other, how we see the restaurants giving out food and people giving out services. It's outstanding, helping the agriculture during this time of war. I'm very proud of
really
our country.
Outstanding. I agree that the unity in all the rows of Israel, religious and non-religious, from the cities, from kibbutzim, and from all kinds of Israelis. All of us are volunteering now to assist generally, to assist a kibbutz, to assist people who had to be out of them
evacuated,
their homes, and to assist, of course, the soldiers with more and more items that the military gives them. We encouraged so many circles in the Israeli society that it is important to continue with this trend, and of course to take the lessons in many aspects of lessons, not only in the military and in the intelligence, of course, but also in the civil service. And I hope that there is a common understanding in the government and in the public opinion to see the day after, not only in the terms of what is going to be in Gaza, but also what is going to be in Israel.
In Israel. Ephraim, thank you so much for being with us today. And dear friends, we are happy that you tuned in. We are happy that you are standing with Israel. We are thankful for all these demonstrations that are, that you all are standing there and helping us in your public squares. Thank you for loving Israel. Thank you for praying for the peace of Jerusalem. And remember, those who pray for the peace of Jerusalem will prosper. Those who bless the seed of Abraham will be blessed. So tune in on Wednesday for the special event from the Knesset, and we'll see you soon again on our daily Answers for Allies.